Remember the story of the three little pigs? One built a house out of straw, one with sticks, and both got blown down the second life came huffing and puffing. For years, I was that first pig. My meals were straw. A granola bar here, a Diet Coke there, maybe a sad little salad if I had a minute. And then every afternoon, like clockwork, the big bad wolf showed up in the form of cravings, exhaustion, and me standing in front of the pantry door. Today, I'm handing you the bricks, the 5 foods every woman needs in perimenopause to stop crumbling. So, if you're a midlife mom who's juggling work deadlines and teenagers who need you everywhere all at once and a metabolism that seems to be slowing down more than dial up internet, you're in the right place. I'm Nikki, mom of 3 and certified health and nutrition coach, and I help women in this crazy perimenopause stage fuel their bodies, build strength, and all without burning out and finally feel confident about themselves again. And today I'm going to walk you through the 5 foods that every woman in perimenopause should eat if she wants steady energy, fewer cravings, and to finally see those stubborn itches start to move. A couple years ago, Saturday mornings were my breaking point. 3 kids, all had different things, and there were only 2 of us. And we were running around like crazy people, and I would have my coffee would get cold in my travel mug, and by the time the afternoon rolled around, I was completely toast. I was exhausted, I was foggy, and I would walk in the door and stare at the laundry that was still sitting on the couch, and I'd think, what is wrong with me? Why can't I keep up anymore? Then I'd end up grabbing a handful of pretzels and maybe I would make an iced coffee because I was exhausted and I just needed to have enough energy to push through dinner. Maybe that sounds like a familiar scenario to you too. But I remember thinking, maybe I'm just stuck. But really, I was building my whole day on crackers and coffee. That's not a house. That's a straw shack in a windstorm. No wonder I couldn't keep up. And so when I started adding the right foods, these 5 bricks that I'm going to share with you, everything started to shift. And I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was the steady and energy, and I finally felt like I could breathe again. So let's get into these 5 foods. And the first one will probably be no surprise, but it is protein. And I know it's all of the rage these days, and honestly, it's for good reason. Most midlife women are walking around under eating protein by at least half and thinking they're actually getting enough. And when they don't hit those numbers, your body pulls that energy from your muscles instead. So if you have less muscle, that means your metabolism is slowing down, and that's why you can still eat clean and still gain weight. So here's how it would play out for me. In the morning, I would maybe have a yogurt or I would have some toast from my kid's plate and I'd be like, okay, good, I ate something great, right? But by 10 a.m., I was shaky and cranky and already thinking about like, what am I going to have for snack? And I'd probably go in and grab a handful of Cheez-Its. And what I learned, and when I finally learned it, that I really needed at least 30 grams of protein in the morning, it honestly felt like I was flipping a switch because I wasn't starving and thinking about food all day. And I know you're probably thinking, okay, Nikki, but I have no clue how I'm going to get 30 grams of protein without choking down some dry chicken at 7 a.m. So I made it super simple for you, and you can grab my mom's protein packed meal guide in the description. It's free and it's full of quick options, and it's going to help you take the guesswork out of this first step. So, okay, you've got your first bricks in place with protein, but here's where most people go wrong. They think we have to ditch carbs completely, so I really want to set this straight. So, food number 2 is carbs. I said it. It's carbs, okay? There was a season where I did cut way back on pasta and bread. And because everywhere I would turn, someone was telling me carbs are the reason your jeans don't fit. So I listened and I'd pick up lettuce wraps, and everyone else had fun spaghetti, right? And no surprise, I was still exhausted and grumpy in the afternoon. But here's what you need to think about. Carbs really aren't the enemy. Carbs are your body's fuel. They give you energy. They help your hormones communicate. But here's the thing, you have to actually choose the right kinds of carbs, not the muffins and the breads, right? You want the fiber-rich carbs like sweet potatoes and quinoa and beans and berries and veggies, right? Those are the ones that are going to keep your blood sugar steady so that you don't hit that wall in the afternoon and end up in the pantry with a ton of Cheez-Its like me. So, this week, instead of cutting your carbs, I want you to start to think about how you can swap them. Trade maybe your white pasta for a lentil pasta, and maybe you add a handful of roasted sweet potatoes to your lunch salad. It's not about cutting everything out, but it really is about giving your body some fuel that it can actually use. Okay, so we covered protein, we covered carbs, and those are your first solid bricks. But let's go after the one food group that most of us were probably terrified of in the early 2000s, and that was fats. And I know you're probably like, okay, but what? So here's the thing. For decades and decades, we were told fat was the enemy. I mean, you see low fat everywhere, right? Low fat yogurt, fat free everything. We bought the lie. But here's the actual truth: your hormones are literally built from fat, okay? So, no healthy fat means no stable hormones. And when your hormones are out of whack, that's when your mood swings show up and your cravings and that stubborn belly, okay? So I had a client who came to me and she was eating way less calories than she should be, but she was super terrified of like having an avocado. And when we started adding those fats back in, maybe we added a little olive oil on her salad or she had salmon on Taco Tuesday, she really stopped guessing and feeling so much better. She wasn't waking up at 2 a.m. every night in the middle of the night. And she actually told me, she's like, I didn't know I could actually feel this way. So today, you're going to go ahead and you're going to think about what one serving of a healthy fat could be. Maybe that's a handful of almonds. Really, you only need like a little bit, right? A quarter of a cup, okay? Or a drizzle of olive oil on your veggies. So the key is that you want to incorporate these, but also so many women don't necessarily know how much they actually need. So we've got these big three covered, okay? We talked about protein, we talked about carbs, we talked about healthy fats, but there's another part about foods that nobody talks about. And these are foods that actually are going to help your hormones detox. So I really want to focus on that next. Okay, so let's talk about veggies and not just the ones that were like the iceberg that we'd pile on a plate and say, yeah, this is a diet. Remember, like when you used to just have like a big thing of lettuce and maybe put some ranch on it? Yeah, been there. Okay, it's just basically crunchy water. But here's where I was stuck. I would eat salads all week and I'd still feel bloated. My jeans still felt tight. And I was like, okay, I'm eating light. Why do I feel like this? And why can I not button my pants? But it's not about eating less, okay? It's about eating smarter because in perimenopause, your hormones, which we talked about with the healthy fats, especially estrogen, are on this roller coaster, okay? And your liver is in charge of cleaning up all of that excess estrogen. But you can't do your job if you're not giving it the right tools. So think of these like cruciferous vegetables, okay? Broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, kale. I know you're probably thinking, but like, aren't those diet foods? Not really. These are actually tools. If you think about them, they can be the soap and the scrub brush for your liver's dishwasher, okay? So without them, all that hormonal gunk is just really piling up and it leaves you feeling puffy and moody and like nothing's changing. So when I tell my clients is don't make it complicated. Okay, tonight throw some frozen broccoli in the microwave and have it. Or, I love to eat just a veggie plate sometimes, right? Raw or roasted. And just make it one small swap. Okay. It's just another brick that you're adding to your house. So we've got protein, carbs, fats, and greens, and these are four solid bricks. But there's one more piece that almost every midlife mom skips, and it's actually the cheapest and easiest fix of all of them. And it sometimes sounds like it's too basic to matter, but that missing brick is hydration. Now, look, I used to think coffee counted as hydration a long time ago because I'd have a couple big cups in the morning and then I'd maybe have some tea in the afternoon. And by 2 o'clock, I was wrecked. Okay. I was falling asleep at my laptop. I was yawning and I was snapping at my kids over nothing and wondering why my body felt so heavy and sluggish. And I used to think, like, what is wrong with me? Like, why can I not just get through the afternoon? But what I learned is dehydration is actually stress on your body. And in perimenopause, your body is already swimming in that stress hormones, right? And you've got cortisol that's in the mix. And when you add dehydration to that, it's like pouring gasoline on the fire, okay? Your body's fried by the afternoon. But the kicker is that plain water isn't always necessarily enough. You can chug 100 ounces a day, but if you're not getting enough sodium, potassium, and magnesium, your cells can't actually use that in water. So it just runs right through you and you're left tired and you're probably craving some sugar. So I want you to think about like this. If you remember back in the day when you were playing Mario Kart on the old Nintendo, and the cord wasn't fully plugged in, you'd sit there and you'd be like smashing your buttons, right? But Mario's just frozen on the screen and you're yelling at the TV. So you thought you're charging your body, but really the plug wasn't even in the wall. So before you reach for that third cup of coffee, I want you to try this. Instead, pour yourself a big glass of water, and you can do a couple of different things to get some electrolytes. One, you can just use a pinch of Celtic sea salt and some lemon, or you can grab a clean electrolyte packet. I personally drink Just Ingredients because it is the cleanest that I have found with all natural ingredients and no fillers and no junk. So I will drop that link in the comments if you want to try them. But you want to drink it, like I drink at least 2 things of electrolytes a day in about 24 ounces of water. For me, I definitely tell a difference on the days when I drink it and days when I don't. One, I'm also the person that doesn't love to drink water, so electrolytes really help me drink more water. But two, it does make me feel like less like I'm about to face plant on the couch. So there you have it. Protein, carbs, fats, greens, and hydration. Those are 5 solid bricks to build a body that can handle the chaos of midlife. But look, food is just one piece. You also need habits that are going to keep those bricks standing. And that's exactly why you're going to hit this next video, 7 unsexy habits that actually make fat loss stick around in your 40s. So I'll link it right here in the description and go watch that next.